Kevin Brooks with Farmland Ownership Series, BK Solutions, Lesson 3.3, the Crop Share Lease. In 2001, a statewide farm leasing survey indicated that about two-thirds of the total farm leases in Illinois are crop share leases. The crop share lease provides flexibility to adapt to changing agricultural conditions. Cash leases continue to grow in number due to ease, but the upswing in grain prices has led many to rethink their position on crop share. The percentage of leases in crop share changes from different locations around the state, being more prevalent in southern Illinois than in northern Illinois, where cash leases are far more prevalent. But you can even see differences in areas. For instance, Champaign County, predominantly cash lease. Move to McLean County and you have a lot of crop share leases. But why use a crop share lease? Leasing farmland can be a complex endeavor. Communication skills are highly important to both parties. Some landowners want to be involved in making decisions, such as as to which crop and which variety to plant. For others, the crop share agreement gives them a feeling of more control in the operation. Crop share leases require the landowner to invest more time into the farm management than cash leases do. The extent of an owner's participation in the farm business can vary considerably under a crop share lease. Usually the owner will be involved in annual decisions about the use of land, seed, fertilizer, chemicals, and marketing of the owner's grain. Some landowners use farm-generated income to increase Social Security credits or as a part of an estate plan to minimize taxes to their heirs. There are strict guidelines requiring evidence of material participation in order to claim various Social Security inheritance tax credits. A crop share lease can, in certain situations, be used to claim these credits. Contact the Social Security Administration, IRS, or your tax planning professional for more information on Social Security and your estate planning needs about the qualifications. It is important to understand exactly what you're doing before you make the switch between crop share and a cash lease. And again, if you have questions, contact Social Security, the IRS, or tax planning professional accordingly for more information on Social Security and your estate planning. Becomes a particularly important on larger farms, but it doesn't take much this day and age to get up over $1 million and on up over $3 or $6 million. Again, this is an estate planning course, but those are if things go back to the way they were before, which could happen, $1 million is kind of the cutting line as to having to protect your assets. And if it doesn't change, and if you've done some work, it's about $3 million, and if you've really done your homework, you can in a lot of cases shelter up to $6 million. But even in this day and age of farmland prices, it doesn't take much to get up over that, so make sure that you do that prior to jumping into cash lease. This is an estate planning workshop, but we will sometime be going over that in more detail on estate planning. Some questions as we go along. Who should pay for land improvements? The landowner generally pays for land improvements in a crop share lease. Should the tenant pay for a portion of a land improvement, a plan for reimbursement of unused improvements should be in place. This is to be based on both lifespan of the improvement and length of use in years. Contributing to the inputs, the crop share lease can be adapted to small open tracts as well as large tracts with buildings. Under a crop share lease, the operator's labor and capital contribution is generally balanced by the landowner's contribution. Both parties pay a share of production costs based upon the division of the mature crops. Under the crop share lease, both landowner and operator share in yields and price risks. And I will say the land, highlighting here the landowner's land contribution. On 50-50 leases, under a 50-50 lease, the landowner and farm operator equally share the harvested grain. This type of lease is the most important type in Illinois. A 50-50 arrangement is more prevalent in northern and central Illinois than in the south, where two-third, one-third leases are common. In a 50-50 lease, crop input material costs are typically equally shared. The farm operator provides the labor and machinery for the production of the crops. The landowner provides the land. Farm operators sometimes pay 100% of the application fees of hiring someone else, such as a fertilizer dealer, to apply the inputs of chemicals and fertilizer. This is because traditionally the farmers in a crop share lease provide the labor. Custom application is diminishing the labor for the farm operation. Farm operators using reduced tillage cropping practices sometimes pay 100% for the burn down herbicide and its application, as this requires less labor than tillage. Under the 50-50, the owner receives a share of the crop produced, plus in some cases an additional fixed amount for use of the farmstead, such as land or in pasture, hay, or use of buildings. In a few cases, a supplement is paid for the payment for the privilege of crop share renting the ground, and this would also speak the same case for 2/3, 1/3. This is especially in times of lower grain prices. The supplement sometimes equals the cost of property taxes on the cropland. This is sometimes called a privilege fee. This tool is used by farmers to keep the landowner from switching to cash rent. In the 60-40 or 2/3, 1/3 leases, they're virtually identical to each other. The farm operator pays a larger share of the input expenses than keeps that percentage of the crop. Surveys indicate that expenses paid by the farm operator tend to be more open to negotiation than with 50-50 leases. Production expenses are often split by the percentage of the grain received, 2/3, 1/3. However, there are farms where the owner pays no expenses under a 2/3, 1/3 agreement. This is not the norm, nor is it uncommon. Farmers that frequently update harvesting equipment sometimes charge the landowner for a harvesting fee. This too is not the norm, nor is it common, but it does happen. Harvesting equipment wears out quickly. It may be a worthwhile expense for the landowner. And I will add here privilege fees are also part of these types of leases. Okay. Crop share lease considerations. Advantages to the landowner. More opportunity to supervise the operation of the farm if so desired than under a cash lease. May be better able to prove material participation for Social Security payments and other tax situations, such as estate planning and the opportunity to benefit from higher prices or yields. Advantages to the farmer. Less risk than a cash lease, especially when low yields or prices occur. This is partially transferred to the owner. Lower capital requirements and cash reserves are required than under the cash lease for the farmer. And crop share lease provides for a proportional cost of sharing of seed, fertilizer, chemicals, unlike a cash lease. Disadvantages to the landowner. There will be more joint decisions. The owner assumes more risk. Planning and harvesting timing is very critical to overall yields. Farmers simply can't do all fields at the same time. Disadvantages of the farm operator: less management freedom than with cash rent. Time of planting or harvesting the crop will become more critical to the owner. Additional thoughts: the crop share relationship between a landowner and farm operator is a contractual relationship. Choose the person you are contracting with carefully. They should be financially sound, have enough equipment to get the job done in a timely fashion, be of good character, and be someone with whom you can communicate comfortably with. Crop share and all other farm leases should always be in writing. Expectations should be spelled out clearly so there are no surprises. Landowners should inspect the farm for pollution and liability problems, that is, the farm operators. Landowners should insist on protection from disasters caused by the farm operators. The lease arrangement should be reviewed each year to adjust to technological, legal, and environmental changes. Again, this is Kevin Brooks inviting questions at phone number 217-377-3201, or you can reach me at kwbrooks@bksolutionsonline.com. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.